Did you know if you drop a like and subscribe in the next 5 seconds, nothing will happen but it will put a giant smile on my face? Fortnite Chapter 3 Season 2 is heading in an interesting direction to say the least as we approach our first live event of this Flipside third chapter, with us nearly being 40% way complete through this second season already. As you can see in the title and thumbnail today, we have everything to talk about to do with the live event as we see the mid-season update 20.20 occurring in just a few days. And despite Prowler upcoming in this mid-season update and more knowledge or leaks to do with the live event, even Klombo's returning. Speaking of events however, or more specifically the mini ones that have been occurring in game to take over named locations from the imagined order, this war between the IO and the 7 is only going one way. With that said, it's only a matter of time before the IO's backs are against the wall and we start the live event or a timer appears above a particular name location in game for it to occur. And let's just say, despite Klombo's hibernating currently, it doesn't mean they're not going to be involved in this war or live event that they've been trying to avoid. So to find out everything on that, sit back, relax, grab your favourite snacks, stick around, watch the full video. It's literally only going to be around 600 seconds long, which is like 10 minutes of your day, so it's definitely worth doing. And speaking of things that are worth doing that only take a few seconds and is 100% free to do also, is entering code FM1 inside the Fortnite item shop. Entering this code not only puts a giant smile on my face but also cheers up my pug Gus, as he's been kinda sad about the fact he knows 70% of you watching right now are not subscribed. So if you hit the big red button right now, you will help us on our final push to 2.5 million subs, as we've just reached 2.4 million right now, so get clicking. After all, this only benefits you too, considering I give different subscribers every single day who are simply, yes, subscribe to the channel with all notifications turned on, and then comment their Epic Games ID down below and potentially what they'd like to receive. So yeah, that could be you gifted in front of hundreds of thousands of eyes to see in the very next video on the channel. But with that said, now enough messing around, we need to discuss everything to do with Klombo's return in the live event and the overall future of Season 2, how it's ending, so make sure of course you don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere. I'm not, I'm sitting on my back. Don't go anywhere.
Okay, so the first things to note about the live event now, what's happening in game or what's been leaked currently ahead of time before the 20.20 mid-season update, of which is only on the staging servers when I'm recording this video and is most likely releasing on Tuesday, April 19th or Wednesday, April 20th, 2022. Just in case you've been living under a rock, if you didn't know about these mini live events occurring in each individual game to get not only a lot of XP by eliminating IO guards, but loot too. As the progression of map changes portraying the storyline stands, of course the Daily Bugle blimp has been shot down by the 7 taking it over from the imagined order and is currently in the outskirts of the ocean. This was able to be done in a hotfix considering it landed in the ocean, however the one that's currently going on at Condo Canyon, again the same mini live event style with a blimp above it. Considering it's safe to say now based off the map progression of the 7 pushing back the imagined order that the 7 definitely have the upper hand already. Even though Condo Canyon's kinda close to the outskirt or ocean area of the island's edge anyways, at least one of these blimps out of all the ones that you're seeing on screen right now for what's going to be occurring for mini live events in what locations will be crashing into the island, and perhaps such map changes of destruction need to be happening in a downtime update. Again, for those that don't know, this is the mid-season update as well because it's the update halfway through Chapter 3 Season 2, it's not just a random occurrence of nearly being 50% way through the season. Sheena leaked this a while ago that there's not only going to be 4 downtime updates this season before Chapter 3 Season 3 going all the way up to 20.40, but it seems Epic Games are working way ahead of time considering on the same tweet too, as you can see, it says that there's going to be 5 updates of Chapter 3 Season 3 leading up to version 21.50. Believe it or not, these updates for even Season 3 in itself have a lot to do with what we're going to be mentioning further in the video as to the storyline of not only this season but this chapter as a whole. And the reason for this, for those that don't know, considering the 0 point is still the heart of the Fortnite island or ultimately the universe between the flip side of both islands. However, since we don't know the location of the 0 point exactly currently where it resides underneath the flip side Chapter 3 island itself, as we did in Chapter 2, from Galactus pulling it out of the ground revealing it to us the first time in Chapter 2 Season 4 as to the whereabouts of where it resided underneath that island, and with it not being confirmed that we'll even get the 0 point involved in this particular live event Chapter 3 Season 2 in itself, it's safe to say the war that's going on now, even portrayed obviously in the cinematic trailer itself, the Resistance one for Chapter 3 Season 2, despite it being obvious that the 7 and the Imagined Order have been opposing each other ever since the end event that's been publicly known anyways, many of you guys won't know as to why this is the case. Here's where things get interesting in terms of the reason for this war waged between these two factions, still currently ongoing on the flip side of the island literally after the event flipping in itself being caused by this, and this has everything to do with what was announced a while ago, even revealed revealing on the front cover artwork anyways, the Imagined being an upcoming member of the Seven at the time early, before she was included throughout the Chapter 3 Season 2 Battle Pass when that released, being the Fortnite x Marvel Zero War comic book issues. I know we've had previous comic books alongside the season's lore in itself or map changes kinda developing or teasing what's upcoming to end it off, however back then they've only been side storylines what's been in the comic books and not directly correlated, but it seems like with Epic Games already having Chapter 3 Season 3 literally entirely planned out in terms of 5 updates happening, and Epic Games knowing what they're going to be including in those as to the content upcoming, this entirely makes sense, this comic book, based off the plot that Firemonkey tweeted out about as to why it's directly linked in shaping the Fortnite storyline or how we progress not only throughout this season, but the very next one leading into Chapter 3 Season 4. As the plotline actually states, I've mentioned in other videos too, it follows the inhabitants on the island who are locked in what seems to be a never-ending war, and only one thing has the potential to turn the tide, a crystallized fragment of the Zero Point that was cast into the Marvel Universe. Spider-Man, Wolverine team up with Shuri and several fan favourites from Fortnite to hunt down the elusive Zero Shard. Will these allies be able to find it in time and avert catastrophe, and can the heroes of Marvel and Fortnite's realities hold off the Imagined Order long enough to give them a fighting chance? So that's very interesting, considering obviously more characters from the Marvel Universe or exterior universes have appeared, literally shown in the trailer recently for Fortnite season. Chapter 3 Season 2 of course I'm referring to being, well, Doctor Strange coming through this portal, and with us already knowing the stages leaked as to the tide being turned in this war with the Seven gaining the upper hand, which will look like this in the end if you couldn't already tell from the map changes when logging onto Fortnite and seeing something different as to where the blue and red lines are positioned each day. Of course the red lines representing the Imagined Order's control, and the blue lines resembling, well, the Seven or the Resistance, meaning us and the Seven combined. From taking a look at the final stage, of which we're going to be seeing before a live event does occur in terms of map changes or each zone of control by the Imagined Order and the Seven, as for zooming more in on this final stage that the Imagined Order are going to be pushed back to being over Loot Lake and also Command Cavern, this could very well mean once this stage is in-game at the end of the season that there will be a countdown timer above either location, whether it is Loot Lake or Command Cavern itself being the base of operations of the Imagined Order that they've set up permanently on the island. And with us expecting to see more Klombos upcoming, as we currently only have the snow mounds that appeared initially before the wildlife of those was implemented in Chapter 3 Season 1. Of course with us knowing they're upcoming for quite some time, being Buttercake, codename in the files, not only shown in the Chapter 3 Season 1 trailer, and also with Fortnite making short animations teasing upcoming skins when this was the case. Considering there's also going to be more mounds but in different environment biomes around the map, such as not only the dirt but even sand areas. Maybe perhaps the secret weapons the Imagined Order have been keeping inside these 2 large vaults are some of the Klombos that were captured before going into hibernation to try and avoid the war, that have then been armoured up and could be used in this giant live event battle. Literally everybody right now is just wanting to see these vault doors open, as they're adjacent to each other inside Command Cavern itself, and despite maybe just containing one Klombo, if this were to be the case in each, we know from data miners digging into the coding how far this system actually goes back behind the vault door itself. So if there are Klombos behind these doors captured and armoured up by the Imagined Order, the question next is, well, how many? And with the Imagined Order taking this route, despite the Seven not seeming as evil to armour up these giant friendly beasts, that doesn't mean to say in a live event similar to the end of this Chapter 3 Season 2 trailer going on in-game to end off this season, that the Seven themselves haven't thought that the Imagined Order would do this even to these giant gentle beings and then armour up some Klombos of their own. I also want to know down below in the comments, where do you guys think we're going to be seeing the countdown time implemented above of, considering I've already mentioned that Command Cavern is the base of operations of the Imagined Order predominantly that they've set up permanently on the island, but of course with this lake on the outskirts of Tilted Towers being, well, Loot Lake itself in this other dimension now, despite the one we had in Chapter 1, with also in Chapter 1 the Zero Point being directly below here as it's kind of near the centre point of the island or the middle. If the Zero Point is to be involved in this live event pulled out of the ground, considering we know from the Fortnite x Marvel Zero War comics that they're searching for a shard or fragment of the Zero Point, with us knowing the Imagined Order have giant drills to drill literally through to the other side of the island as it's now been turned over, is it possible entirely because of this that a timer appears above the Loot Lake section, confusing many but not you guys watching this video, as we know that the Zero Point most likely resides underneath this area? It's safe to say regardless, however, with the storyline moving forward throughout this chapter being established, as what's currently going on with the Imagined Order and the Seven is only a small part of it, let's just say we're in for a crazy chapter with the Fortnite x Marvel Zero War comics not only teasing a final Showdown V2 event once the paradigm has returned to the Seven or this Fortnite island to build a robot, and with us discovering the other Devourer monster, which we know exists considering the Devoured location itself actually has underneath its coding a complete cave system that's set to be upcoming, and in there distant roars of another of the Devourer's kind. On top of that too, with us not knowing where Galactus went to at the end of this Nexus War event, with Galactus being in some recent artwork for these comic book issues themselves, it looks like nothing's impossible as to anything returning or upcoming in the future of Fortnite. And despite some recent artwork being leaked for this comic book series on screen right now that FireMonkey tweeted out around 2 days ago, we actually get free rewards attached to these for those that don't know, which go as the following. In the first issue, we're going to be getting an outfit code, the second a wrap, the third a pickaxe, the fourth a spray, the fifth a loading screen, and then from redeeming all 5 of those collectively, we're going to be getting a bonus outfit, which some people speculate to be the last member of the 7. That is one of the sisters, despite the Imagine that has already been revealed, again for the first time on this Fortnite x Marvel Zero War comic book issue. And even furthermore interestingly, as previously mentioned briefly, despite these comic books kinda teasing what's upcoming for this whole chapter or portraying it, based off the release date of these comic book issues themselves, this only confirms this furthermore. As FireMonkey stated right here, the first issue is going to be releasing June 8th, which literally will be Chapter 3 Season 3, as it currently states on the Battle Pass that Chapter 3 Season 2 runs through June 3rd, which is 5 days prior to the release of this first issue. Then of course Issue 2 is releasing July 13th, Issue 3 on August 17th, Issue 4 releasing on August 31st, and then finally Issue 5 releasing on September 28th. So with this being made obvious to the public right now so that we know when to order these, of course it's obvious too that Epic Games will know everything that's happening to end off Season 2 and have it set in stone, as these comic books and the storylines already been written based off what's going to be happening to end off this season or after. So to get all that intel, especially when 20.20 drops, subscribe to the channel with all notifications turned on, and drop a like on today's video if you want to keep referring back to any of this intel. But speaking of other videos or your next destination now, make sure to interact or click anything on screen, I don't mind, but most importantly, hopefully I can catch you. Yes, you the individual still watching, I can see you, but hopefully in that very next video I do post on the channel.